Welcome to the Belief Breakthrough Show, where we believe that you can achieve the life you dream of simply through shifting your perspective and breaking through your limiting beliefs. With your host, Tina Encarnacion, the author of Stuck in the Fire, a story of resilience, trauma and abuse coach, an energy healer, and Reiki master. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Belief Breakthrough Show. I am your host, Tina Encarnacion, and today we have an amazing woman. You guys, I love talking to her. When we have conversations, it's like we've known each other forever. Her name is Neeta O'Keeffe, and she is a transformative coach. She works on mindset and where your mind is, and teaches us how what is going through our mind affects our body, mind, soul, and spirit. She is a soul sister, and I am so excited to introduce her to all of you guys because you need a little Neeta in your life. So I can talk about her all day long, but she can definitely talk about herself better than I ever could. So she is going to tell us what she's been through, why she does what she does, why she's so passionate about it, and how she is transforming lives across the world. So Neeta, please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here with us today.
Thanks, Tina. That was lovely. I love talking to you too. So for me, I'm a transformative coach, but I actually call myself a state of mind coach. And that's really because I've seen over the years, and I'll talk a little bit about this, how my state of mind really impacts my symptoms. And when I talk about my symptoms, I'm talking physically and mentally and emotionally. And just a little bit of background on me. So I used to work in finance, worked in the banking world for many years. And I was somebody who always loved this sort of revved up style of operating. I'd love to do 5 different things all at once and just keeping busy. You know, I love that. I love ideas and everything. And it worked really well. I was really successful with it until it sort of stopped working, you know. And I was living abroad as an expat in Asia at the time, and I just started to get really sick to the point that I was getting sick every month. And I'd get these ear infections, and I was on antibiotics all the time. And so it I started noticing that I wasn't well, but I just ignored my symptoms. I just carried on operating at that level. I'd get sick. I'd have to slow down. I was forced to slow down. So I'd decide, well, I'm doing too much. I'd drop 4 of those things, you know, pick one. And I'd sort of start to build my health up, and then I'd start to take on more work. And so that was sort of one of the patterns. And it was really back in 2014 that my body sent me a really, really clear signal. I started to get this numbness starting from my left foot, which just traveled over a period of days all the way up to the top of my left side of my head. It was a really uncomfortable, kind of awful feeling. It was painful. I just didn't feel like me. And I had to go and see a doctor about this. And it took, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, about 18 months before I was formally diagnosed with mild MS. And that just really created such change for me in my life and the way, as I say, that I operated. I'd always had this very revved up, fast-paced way of working. And I had to slow down, but also at the same time, I was doing some training, really looking at the sort of this inside out understanding, which is that, you know, we might think that life is kind of coming at us and it happens to us, but actually, life is sort of created. Well, it is created through us, through our thoughts, our senses, you know, and it wasn't even that bit of the training that was useful. It was the fact that when I was training, and I was actually in Santa Monica at the time, so it was beautiful. And I was sitting there looking up at this clear blue sky in one of our breakout sessions. And I just was enjoying that relief and a quieter mind. I really sort of slowed down, my mind quietened down, and I sort of began to see that there was a part of me, a space there within me that was beyond my thinking, beyond the noise of my thinking. So that was like a key event for me. But the other key thing, and this sort of goes back to what you were saying about, state of mind, which is that I noticed one day that I had a really bad headache, pain down my neck. And I just thought, I'm not going to take any medication like painkillers. I've been taking some, and I decided I wasn't going to. And I decided to sit down and watch a TV show. It was like a comedy show, something like Modern Family. I don't even know what it was, but it was on and I was watching it. I did nothing differently. I just watched this show. I didn't take any medication. I didn't do any stretches or nothing. I got really engrossed in this show. And 30 minutes later, I sort of got up, walked around, did stuff, and realized that the pain had gone. And so that started to get me curious as to, well, hold on, what happened to this pain? Like, where did it go? It was there and now it's disappeared. Like, what happens to pain? How does it actually disappear? So I was talking to my coach at the time, a few days later, and I was describing this to him, and he said, "Oh, that's really interesting, but I'd be really curious about what's going on with your state of mind when the pain appears." And so that started to lead me down this path of looking at what was going on up here, and relating it to what was going on within my body. So I don't know, I'll pause there because I have a tendency to keep going. So I don't know if there's anything else you want me to add at this point, Tina.
No, I think that you covered it. Very, very much mind-body connection. Yeah. Where, and I think that that's really important for people to understand, especially in the US. A lot of times when people have a physical ailment, they go to the doctor and the doctor gives them that prescription, that, the pain med. And what we don't realize is, and something that I've brought up a lot, and I'm sure my viewers are tired of hearing me talk about it, but every physical ailment or physical pain is connected to something emotionally. And so if you can sit there for a second and listen to your pain, listen to your body and go, why is this here? Where is it at within the body? Then you can start to address it yourself without putting in a chemical to numb that pain, because that pain is there to tell you something, right? It's there to explain something, to bring something to your attention, to say, hey, this needs to be dealt with. And something that's really interesting is a lot of times your pain is found in the area of the energetic block, right? So if you were having the pain in, you said your neck, down your back area during that TV show, that pain is connected, that throat chakra, right?
Yes.
Or that intuition. So the third eye and the throat chakras are your energetic centers, your energy centers within your body. You have 7 of them: your crown, your third eye, your throat, your heart, solar plexus at your ribs, sacral at your belly button, and then your root at the base. So if your neck pain is here, then it's something with communication or intuition. You might not be listening to a sign that your body is trying to tell you, or you might not be communicating something. You might be swallowing your words, and that could be igniting that pain. So if you sit there and you listen, okay, what am I not saying? What's bothering me? What stress is coming in because I'm not speaking my truth? Or did someone speak something negatively to me that I absorbed as truth? That could be causing that pain.
Well, that's really, really interesting. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that with me, because it's got my mind kind of, the sparks going off, going, oh yeah, this really connects so well, because at the time, I would say that I probably wasn't expressing myself. And that was a big thing for me. And that's something I love helping my clients with. I was a woman in midlife. and I was feeling quite lost. I was trying to figure things out in my life. I was doing this training, was still feeling quite dissatisfied, didn't really know what was going on. And but I wasn't really, I wasn't really being myself. I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't expressing myself fully in my work. At the time, I didn't even really know that I wanted to work with women in midlife, that was one thing. And then I'd say definitely, I hadn't been listening to myself. I hadn't been listening to my body. I'd really kept pushing everything, to one side. Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll take some painkillers and just carry on. And, that was definitely my experience that I think my body was really manifesting, and really showing me, the way you put it was, energetically in these energetic blocks. And I definitely had these blocks within me about just, in a way, not giving myself permission to be myself. I was a little afraid, actually. For a long time, I was very worried about what people think. And that was something that really held me back. And, so that was sort of pivotal for me, really starting to see how something as simple as, me getting worried about, if I had to find an address somewhere in London that I was going to, and, I wanted to be on time, and I was getting a bit stressed that I wasn't going to be on time because I didn't know where I was going. My body started to just almost instantly actually react to that. And, I would get pain, get that familiar pain, or what started to happen is my leg I'd start limping. It was like I just couldn't walk properly. I'd have to slow down. And it took a while for me to connect the two. And once I did, oh my goodness, it changed everything for me. And I started to just see the link, as I say, between that mind body connection so clearly, that it was, I'd say it was pivotal. It really did change everything for me. And, my symptoms, I certainly don't have as many symptoms now as I used to. And if I do, they are mild, but, I use them as a signal to tell me the direction that my thinking is going in, where what I'm focused on, is that really helpful or not? And it's usually it's really insecure thinking that I'm having about something. It isn't even real, it's not the truth of a situation.
Right, yeah.
It's my meaning, my interpretation of it. And, so that's why that's why I love doing what I do now, which is really working with women to help them be really aware of that mind body connection, and to see that actually thoughts move on. They're meant to come and go. They're like, they're an energy. They are just passing through our mind, and our feelings as well. If I don't look at my feelings, as you described, if I have a sinking feeling, or, butterflies, or there's an unease, I just kind of go in now and I address it. I look at it and it moves on. But if I distract myself and do other things because I don't like the feeling that I'm experiencing, it stays there and it builds and it builds and it builds. And so again, that's been huge for me, because, I would have allowed a feeling, an uncomfortable feeling, to either stop me from doing what I wanted to do. So I'd stay stuck, or I'd think, well, I'll wait until I feel better about this, or, I don't know, I'll wait for inspiration. I mean, I do wait for inspiration sometimes for some things, absolutely, but I don't wait for inspiration to go brush my teeth in the morning and, and shower. I just get on with it. And so there's certain things in life that I've learned I don't need to wait for the right mood or the right feeling, if that makes sense. Before I take action.
It's it's so important to listen to those messages from your body.
Yeah.
And so many of us don't do that. We are so busy pushing and pushing and pushing, and our body gives us these responses. And something that's really interesting is before your body warns you physically, it starts here mentally, right? And so first your body will give you emotional signals. It'll say, hey, there's something going on over here. Typically it's like sadness or anxiety or depression or insecurities, or it's something emotional, right? And if you ignore that and you stuff it and you push through it, like most of us do, then we get that physical body warning.
Mm.
So if it's saying, hey, your thoughts aren't right, you need to readjust up here, and you're ignoring that, then you get a headache, or you might get a migraine, right? Or you might have vision issues. If your body's saying, hey, you're not speaking your truth, you need to open up. You need to speak your truth. Don't absorb those negative words people are saying. Don't believe that. And you still ignore it and you absorb it, then you can get a sore throat. You could get laryngitis. You could get bronchitis. You can even develop asthma if it goes on for a long time, or COPD, or some kind of long-term condition if you're just ignoring it for long periods of time. If it's like your heart center, where you're not listening, you're not feeling loved, you're allowing yourself to not feel loved, and you're ignoring that, then, or you're not putting love out, then you could get like high blood pressure, you can get indigestion. Everything's connected somewhere in your body, right? And so you have to listen to those warning signs and say, where is it at? Where is this pain at? What is connected to this energy center that this pain is living in, so that I can start to address it? So if you're out there and you're saying, well, gosh, I've got pain in my knee, I can't barely walk, but I don't know what that's connected to. That's just, girl, I've been an athlete my entire life. That's just because I've been an athlete my entire life. I've abused my body. That's what it's from. Most likely it's not because you've been an athlete your entire life. You're probably supposed to be further along in your life than you are. You're probably sitting stagnant, and your body is saying, hey, we need to move forward. We need to move past this. We can't believe that we're no longer worthy because we've lived out our time as an athlete. We need to keep moving. And so your knee's giving you pain to say, hey, keep moving, right? And so we need to listen to those signs.
Yeah.
And that goes back to your mindset coaching, right? Goes
Yeah.
back to your belief coaching and how it's all connected, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's all connected. And, you know, one thing for me that I see, I sort of talked a little bit about this as well, that, there is this, you know, we pay so much attention to what's going up in our head, you know, those thoughts. And that was certainly the case for me. You know, for many, many years, I kind of operated, you know, from the head up or the neck up, you know, my body was sort of ignored. Whatever was going on in my mind was gold. That was important. You know, I really valued everything up here, but not so much, you know, with the rest of my body. And I really believed a lot of my thinking. I really did. And I kind of thought, well, if it's in my head, if I'm thinking it and I keep thinking it, then it must be important. It must be true. You know, and now I just see there's a lot of conditioned thinking. So kind of we have these habitual thought patterns that we've been conditioned to have from a young age, or through, you know, from our family or society, or it's just what we pick up and what we do, or we think and then we do. But actually there's so much emphasis placed on thought.
Right.
But actually that, you know, I'm going to use this word, sort of say, you know, that meditative space, that space that people drop into, like when they're running, like that runners, you know, I think they call it a runner's high, or if people are swimming, or if you're doing something repetitive like knitting. And of course, if you're sitting down and meditating, but there is that sort of space within that we kind of can drop into. And that's really where the gold lies for me, you know, and for my clients as well, because that's sort of the the space that allows me to go and sort of refill and refuel. And then I go out and, get on with doing what I need to do. So that's also been really important, actually, for me and for my clients, to be able to say, yeah, you know what? You're going to fall for that illusion of believing everything that you think. And then you'll come on and go, actually, that's not how it works. Whatever's going through my mind, I don't need to believe everything. And actually there's that space of freedom, creativity, peace of mind, joy, that relief, that place. That's really where I kind of want to go and refuel, spend some time there and get out there and start doing things and taking action and, making things happen. And it's a much gentler way, even though I found that I get a lot more done now than I used to, because I'm not efforting, right? I'm not putting in all that effort. And it used to feel like I was pushing a boulder up a hill, but but the effort it took to get there was huge. And now there's much more ease and it's gentler. But yeah, still really productive. So, that's been lovely to see and experience.
And going into that meditative state that you mentioned allows you to actually hear the messages from your body. Yeah. So when we're so busy going, pushing that boulder up the hill, we don't have the ability to listen to our intuition, to listen to our mind, to listen to our body, and to separate that voice. Like you mentioned, the thought process and the beliefs that are set at childhood as our foundation to live on. We are given all of our beliefs by the age of 7. And then the information that we take in every single day is processed based on those beliefs. So those beliefs are saying you're going through this thing and you're getting 2 million terabytes of information, but you can only take 30 terabytes in. And so your brain looks at your beliefs and processes all that information to support those beliefs to be true. Right. And so you've got that voice in your mind going, this is the way it's supposed to be. But then you also have your true self that's going, but this is what I want. And so they're fighting in your mind. And it's through that meditation that you can quiet the fighting between the two voices and go, what is my truth? What do I truly want to live? And kind of push those beliefs that were set on you at childhood and step into your own personal truth now as an adult with experience and go, what do I want my truth and beliefs to now be? Right. Yeah, and that's how the healing begins. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to say, and what you start to then see through, and I love the way you described it there about your true self, and you go inwards, you go inside. It sort of feels like you go inside or within. I don't know how you might describe it, but what tends to happen is that you stop looking outside of yourself, or I stop looking outside myself for the fix, for the answers, for the distractions, thinking that the answer lay with, one more course, one more book, one more, I don't know, a friend who's going to make me feel better, and I actually stopped, or I started seeing that, my state of mind did not come from the person I was with either. Because if it was, sure, somebody could be in a bad mood, and there's days where it just doesn't really bother me. And other times it might be in a bad mood and it would really bother me. And that wasn't convincing enough for me to go, hold on. Yeah, this is them, or sometimes it's them and sometimes it's me. It just, again, just going within and, looking at how life is created from within, just that helped me immensely because, growing up, I definitely used to feel much more like a victim to my circumstances. Oh, yes. And, yeah, I just stopped, I stopped sort of feeling that way. And of course, yeah, there are days where I go, oh yeah, it's him, it's her, it's this situation. But I kind of come out of it pretty quickly, and so that's, again, that's also something that's been, huge in terms of just being able to not look in that wrong direction, which is continuously looking outside, or if I'm feeling insecure, chocolate's usually my go-to anyway, that I haven't been able to keep the chocolate habit yet, but that's certainly,
chocolate's really good.
Good. Yeah. Maybe not the chocolate that I eat though, Tina.
Chocolate has been proven to actually ground you to the earth. So chocolate has been proven to break up your energetic blocks and negative belief systems and allow it to drain back to the earth, which is really interesting. I was like, when I finished a Reiki session one time, and the Reiki master is like, oh, you're very pale, you need some chocolate. And I was like, what? And she goes, eat this. It's going to ground you. It's going to bring you back into your body. Chocolate brings your energetic field back into your body. The darker the chocolate, the better connection it is. So chocolate's really good.
I do eat dark chocolate now. I've sort of moved away from all the other chocolates, and it's like 70% or 80% of dark chocolate. Mm-hmm. Okay, well then there you go. Then clearly my wisdom was speaking to me, and that's why I've been eating the chocolate. But okay, well then maybe, yeah, it might have been other things like just watching loads of television, or going to yet another bookshop and buying more books, or just, feeling like, well, I need to have my coffee mornings with friends all the time, in order to feel good. And yeah, it's really lovely to be able to, enjoy my own company, to be able to look to myself, to my own wisdom, my true self, and listen, for the answers, to be able to ask myself a question and, and get an answer. And so, yeah, it's really lovely actually to, to sort of be able to start to look in such a different direction than, I had been used to for, certainly until my early 40s. That's, I was always looking outside myself for all the answers. And, I'd get a sort of a temporary fix, and then, then I'd sort of be unhappy and dissatisfied again, and thinking, okay, now what? Now what do I look? Yeah. Who do I look to? What do I look to? So, so that's also been really important. And that's, something that's really important as well with the work that I do, particularly with women. I'd say, women in general, but certainly at midlife, I notice what happens is that's a stage of life where women kind of start to hear those whispers, pay attention to those whispers, and they probably become louder than whispers. And the whispers might come, in the form of, as you say, the intuition and just hearing yourself, hearing something within yourself, or it's it's a symptom. It could be anything, but really there's a sense of dissatisfaction that starts to happen. I found in midlife, a lot of women start to feel quite lost, disconnected, dissatisfied, feeling really stuck. And, they might think, oh, this is a crisis, it's like the midlife crisis. But actually the way I see it is it's a period of your life where it's almost like your younger self, all those dreams, the things ideas you had when you were younger, and that maybe you put to one side because you got busy with life and, maybe studying, working, starting a family, paying for a mortgage, all of those things. You actually start to have a bit more time. Maybe the children are getting a bit older. And so it's like an inner calling, and you start to get those whispers, those ideas coming to you. And that's where I think a lot of women do wonder, that question of, is this it? You sort of get to midlife and you go, okay, is that it? What's next? And I actually see it as a really lovely, generative time to be able to start to, as I say, express yourself, not care so much about what people will think, start to share yourself more fully. And it's a time to bring to life those ideas, whatever that idea is, whatever it is you want to do. This is the time to start to do it. And to embrace all of you, embrace, like I said, you know, whatever those physical symptoms are that are showing up, there's a really key message there. Whatever those emotional symptoms are, there's a key message there. It's really time to listen, to put yourself first, to, you know, be unapologetic about that, and to look forward to, you know, this next chapter of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you could tell the listeners 3 different nuggets that they can do to start to change their lives, to start to step into their truths, to start to embrace themselves for who they truly are and not who they've been told that they should be, what would those nuggets be?
Oh, goodness. Oh, 3 nuggets. Well, I think the first thing I would say is to try and experience that state, or that space, I should say, beyond your thinking. And I just think that's key. I think if you can actually start
Absolutely.
to do that, great. And it can be as simple as something like seeing that there is a little space or a gap between your thoughts. Experiment with that, you know, just do that one day, just watch a thought come through and it will move on. And then there'll be another one and another one, but there'll be a little gap in between. And if you can sort of catch that gap, notice it. And as you notice it, you'll kind of fall into that space, that meditative space. That's how I see it anyway. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is that, just to, you know, if I've got a very revved up mind, and I'm feeling a little anxious and agitated, sometimes something as simple as saying stop to myself. Again, I just sort of drop. Like, it's like all my thoughts kind of just for a few seconds, they kind of disappear. And so then I experience that space again. And I think that that's really important. That would be something that I think is really key, for, you know, for the listeners to sort of try out and enjoy that space and find other ways and that would kind of lead to my second thing, which would be to do things that light you up. I think we live in a society where we're told that we have to do these things, that we've got to work hard, we've got to put in the effort, you know, no pain, no gain, all of that stuff. And actually, I think that if you could give yourself, once a day, once a week, you know, start with once a week if that's all you can do, but ideally even once a day for 10, 15, 20 minutes, do something that really lights you up. The thing that I experienced in Santa Monica was that little bit of time to myself. And when I came back home to London in my busy work day, I started giving myself half an hour, and then it increased to 1 hour of just doing something creative. So I would sit there, and I love drawing, and I would just do that. I would just do something that was not work related, children related, relationship related. It was actually for me. And so that's what I say, that I think that's really important. And, you know, please give yourself that time. The third thing, goodness, I wish you'd give me a bit of warning here, Tina, kind of snuck. What's the third thing that I would say to people? Yeah, you know what I would say? I wish I had seen this for myself sooner, but I would say, please stop caring so much about what people think.
Yes.
Stop doing that, you know. This isn't a I don't care kind of attitude, like, you know, I'm not going to care about someone's feelings. It's not that. It's that conversation that you might have in your head, imaginary conversation with this person that you're kind of worried about, what they might think about what you want to do, what you might want to say. And and you kind of have that conversation, you hear their side, and then you decide, okay, well, yeah, I won't do it. And so you hide. I hid for a long, long time. I hid myself away for too long. And that was simply because I was really worried about what other people would think of me and what I was doing and what I was sharing. And even now, I have sometimes I'll have a little bit of this. Like I'm here on this, here with you, and I'm being interviewed. And, I did have that thought momentarily, about half an hour before this. Like, I wonder what so-and-so might think, what some teachers might think, or, a certain community of a group of people or friends, whoever it might be. But you know what? I see that as just that old habitual stale thinking now. That's how I see it. So when it comes along, I just go, oh yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. You. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Bye. And it moves on. So so that would definitely be an important one. Please stop worrying about what people think of you.
Yeah. Stop comparing.
Yes. Comparing.
Those are amazing nuggets. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. And it was a great conversation. I loved it.
I learned lots here. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Belief Breakthrough Show. We hope that you learned a few nuggets that you can start to put into your life and start working on yourself and changing your beliefs so that you can achieve the life that you dream of. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so now so you don't miss any other episodes. We go live every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you would like to be part of a like-minded group that are going through their own healing journeys, that are looking for supportive people to surround them as they start to explore themselves and change their lives, please join our Facebook group, Women Empowered to Heal. Again, that is our Facebook group, Women Empowered to Heal. We will welcome you with open arms and help support you along your journey in life as well. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.